Hi, my name is Rick Howell. I'm a TV guy, and this show is called Talk Back to Television. It's about the business of television, how we make the programs, how we distribute the programs, and mostly how we pay for the programs. Because if we can't pay for the shows, there's nothing to watch. Stay tuned. Good morning. This is Talk Back to Television, and I'm thrilled to be here with Allison Dollar. Allison, how are you?
Well, so great to see you. Happy New Year. It's like we haven't seen each other.
It's been a while. Last time we saw each other was probably at Tracy's show, and I'm going to guess you're going to be out there again in March, right?
I will indeed. I will. It's my favorite conference in our space.
You know what? It's interesting. It's the one place where you can go and get to the people you want to meet without a personal assistant or a calendar or a schedule or any of the rest of it. You get 5 minutes that it would take you normally a year to get.
And no, so true. And also everybody is very knowledgeable. You know, all of us have been in it, and all of us, for decades.
Yep.
So it's nice to have the shorthand and not some of those sessions and some of the other ones. I shall not name names. I cannot sit in because, you know, they're too superficial. So
yeah. All right.
So good job.
You are chairman and founder of the Interactive TV Alliance. What exactly is the Interactive TV Alliance?
I am. Well, it's a 501c6. We actually launched on 9/11 itself at another TV conference here in LA. On that day, everybody showed up. We were so shocked. But there was an unmet need to get out of the silos between all the vertical segments within the marketplace. And so that was the impetus was actually to do that. And since then, you know, it's had a storied evolution. We had a retreat, Reinventing Television Summit, all sorts of things, did interactive advertising guidelines, a lot of amicus brief to the digital transition, if you can believe it, because it hadn't happened yet. And then we kind of worked ourselves out of a job that way. Our memberships weren't professionals like TV Academy, or that was the actual corporation. So we had Disney and Kraft Foods and Intel and Microsoft and all these disparate players who typically weren't in the same room, not much less the same board or talking to each other. But then, you know, the marketplace took over and we sort of, that issue went away. Now everybody understands that the peanut butter and chocolate need to mix. So then I'm just using it to do programming for other shows like CES and NEB and all that sort of stuff. And then I continue, I know many of us do, you know, are brought in as a fractional work or doing consulting and stuff like that. And currently I'm mostly working with AR Wall. They're the virtual production software. And that's like really, of course, taking off because it's so many benefits to be using a virtual set. And they're doing great.
All right. So now one of the first times we met was at a conference that you were running in a previous incarnation on the Queen Elizabeth.
That was an ITA. That was an ITV Alliance retreat. That was our Reinventing Television Summit.
All right. And I have to tell you, one of the tasks for the groups was to invent something. And our group invented something that was very possibly prescient, because we talked about taking the heads of the Beatles, recorded footage of the Beatles, and putting them on fresh video of players of those respective instruments.
Rick, I remember that.
That's pretty wild, isn't it?
It was pretty wild, and now here we are, right? Here we are. I
invented deep fakes.
You invented deep fakes, and I think that is a direct, you know, to use that colloquialism, I do think deep fakes is a direct result of the chocolate and peanut butter finally mixing, for better or for worse. You know, this is where we are. So when you have, you know, Walmart's talking about AI and doing that deal with Unity and all this stuff that's happening, this is where we are. So, Rick, what are you going to do about it?
You know what? Basically, I'm doing what I always did, which is I talk for a living. Okay, now.
Yes, you're great at that. That's
and occasionally people listen. Allison, the real question on the table, as much as this business was changing slowly over the last few decades, that change has accelerated dramatically. We're
Yes.
recording this on a Friday, and as near as I can figure, that means that at least 16 new fast channels launched today.
Yeah.
And not a one of them is making money, nor will any of them ever make money, which is strange
Yeah.
to think of.
Well, you know, this is not the first time that they get the cart before the horse in terms of the business model, and then they rush around and everybody's trying to make their quarterly earnings and they do these deals. I thought it was very interesting that Stir was sold off to Thinking Media, and we're going to see a lot of that coming up. You know, Zone TV was bought out by BCI, I guess it was, right, that took them on. So, you know, those two things, that those tracks seem that they're not related, but they are interrelated. The workflow issues, all those new players there that people don't know about that are like helping Amagi. I know one of them. And the like, you know, in that sort of middle workflow world, there's going to be a lot of activity there. And then you're looking at, again, if you think about Walmart and Unity, as I said, those two things, the infrastructure, AR wall, that's all switched over and it's done. And in fact, the third sort of piece of that would be what happened with mobile that added this extra infrastructure, this other habituation on the consumer experience side. And Airwall has an app version that basically the influencers and the prosumer levels can use the integration software that they have, live action on an LED wall with actors, sync it with the phone. So this is all part and parcel of the same thing. So, you know, you've been prescient. I love that Beatles thing. I think we will be seeing that, right? We will be seeing that.
We may have
we'll be
already
seeing the
seen
Beatles
it. We may
running
have
around
already
on
seen it and
Roblox.
not known it. Didn't George Lucas do a thing and he picked up John and put John's head on a player and put it with the other guys.
Yes, and we'll see them, I was going to say, running around on Roblox with Paris Hilton. Right?
All right, now listen. I don't want to go too far without asking this question. As we are speaking, Byron Allen is trying to do a deal to pick up Paramount. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, I will confess to my viewers that I am a Paramount Viacom alumnus and a shareholder. But nonetheless, you know, something's got to happen. Something's got to fall. Can Byron Allen make that work?
Who heard his
let me say, can he make it work by himself?
I do not think so.
Okay. What would he need to make it work? He's listening. Okay, Byron, you need to what?
Well, Byron, you know, you need to have probably not your usual bean counters around you, for one thing, right?
Okay.
And also some of the other advisors on building these models that can turn on a dime. This is the thing, these hybrid, I remember having this conversation actually with you probably 20 years ago about the need for hybrid business models. Because what they always want is a spreadsheet that just goes straight across. It's the same across. It's not. It has to be organic to be able to shift in real time to the consumer consumption behavior and pattern. And then the content, you know, has to be truly a juking organic thing where you're pulling from here, you're using that, you wrap a banner here, you do a click to buy there with the third-party brand, all these alliances. So they have to have some imagination, ingenuity, and speed, and not be the usual, you know, suspects.
All right, so I'm gonna put that into my terms, which is rather than focusing on what you got and what you can push, you need to focus on the consumer and what she wants.
Yes.
If she wants something you don't have, then fucking go get it.
Exactly. Well, this is what we always said about the ITA and the definition of ITV. It's an umbrella of products and services that use the back channel, but it's in the landscape that where the locus of control rather than, big three broadcasters, push one to many, shifted to the consumer. And that happened a long time ago with mobile, and the rest of the infrastructure players, legacy players in television, didn't pay attention. It's the consumers in control. You have to not follow the consumer either. You have to anticipate where they will be and be serving it up. I was interested to see about the QR codes for the Super Bowl. We'll see how that works. Some of these things, I really applaud those bigger corporate organizations, some of them that are publicly traded. They're actually being a little bit entrepreneurial. It's really wonderful to see that some of them are, stepping up.
They're going out there on the edge. And, the interesting thing, and I've always said this about, and we've got to finish this thing up, but we always said about folks like Comcast, at the end of the day, they may be losing a ton of subscribers, but the traditional television business and now broadband is paying the mortgage. And that allows them to go out there. And
Comcast was always so out in front among all of those people in the MSO world.
Well, they have the ability now to go out and flex and do the other things. And I think eventually we're going to see that they're actually going to be the aggregator of record for all streaming services.
I totally agree with you, Rick. And the thing is, too, is since we do, have our community, just remember which of those guys were there for so long, that they were understood and they were creative and they were smart in that way, and willing to experiment and do new things. I mean, even back in the middleware days, things were happening there, the industry moved on, but those guys understood. And so there's only a handful where I would say, we used to always say that, right? Do they get it?
Yep.
But, now it's the consumers at the wheel, and, God help us on the deep fake side. But on the upside of that is that means there's actually truly new revenue streams coming, which we have not even anticipated. And that part's going to be very fun.
All right. Well, talking about fun, we're looking forward to the TV of Tomorrow show in San Francisco at the end of March. Indeed. And Tracy is doing a margarita festival. I'm not quite sure what, but I have agreed to be a judge. So I'll be sampling the margaritas.
Well, I will be right there next to you, sampling the margaritas. We can all, have a white, nice toast. And also, by the way, you're always dressed for it.
Yeah. Well, I try to be. All right, listen, we're going to sign off. Allison Dollar, thank you very much. And we'll see everybody next week.
We'll see you soon.
See you next week on Talk Back to Television. Bye-bye.
Talk Back to Television. It's awesome. See you.
I just work hard for these kids because they need